My nose is it's running all the time lately. I know.
All the cocaine's out of the frame. Oh shit, we're live.
Yeah. Oh no. Shit. Thank goodness my Diners Club credit card, which is the only one that I use for cocaine. Wasn't that real?
Yeah.
Isn't Diners Club?
They were like the first credit card.
Was that? Wait, was that the precursor to Discover?
I don't know.
I looked into it.
Probably.
I looked into it a long time ago because I kept seeing it. Like I kept seeing it in old like signs.
Yeah.
And I guess it just didn't make sense to me. I guess it was just like a charge card. Yeah, like I'll discover.
Yeah, but like, was it just for like restaurants?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's us an untethered to cover sometime.
Oh my God!
This is a whole rabbit hole, bro.
Jeez. I know. I'm writing it down.
Oh, look, what's up, Brandon? It finally notified him that we were live. He said bros and gals. By gals, he means me and Daniel.
I think so, yeah.
Allie has a bigger dick than both of us, so.
Like, honestly. This just
combined, by the way.
Micro penises are still penises.
Unite.
Oh, I need to move around. That. Better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. No, I don't know. Maybe the locker room, because we did play a lot of sports together in middle school.
No, dude, I was just reviewing the toilet cam footage.
I told you, Brandon, I'm a grower, not a shower. Come on, man.
Larry,
don't call me out.
If I put a link in the YouTube chat, will it? I could just fucking try it.
Yeah, just do it. Go for it. Fuck it. What? I'm not even gonna say it. Because
what are we gonna get banned?
No, not even that. I was, Daniel did have a blue screen to start with, so I don't want to jinx us.
Right.
Hey, but at least we got like a decent connection today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, YouTube decided to be gracious with their bandwidth.
Yeah.
So that was great. That's fun.
Map of attic. What? Referencing my pee-pee?
The prison.
It didn't show.
The link didn't go through.
The link didn't go through. So it literally just looks like you're just like pointing up.
Damn. Okay. I
wonder if it's in the. I wonder if it's in like the moderator side, like chat will not allow links. There are chat settings. Moderation activity. What is this? This mean? Moderation activity will be shut down.
What's this?
All right, try it again.
I tried.
I shut off the moderation activity. I don't understand.
Either of those go through.
I don't know.
Shit.
Nothing went through yet on my end.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how to.
Me.
What if I make it not a link to where you? Let's see.
How many moderation activity would not be shown? Okay, I turn moderation activity off.
There you go, dude. I'll tell you what what your link needs. Needs water, sugar. More sugar.
If I type out the .com in the middle of it, did that break it so it's not a link?
That's a very good question.
That's still not.
So nothing has come through at this point.
Damn it!
Type out dot. Type out DOT.
I did. I did. That's what I just did. It's on
the algorithm. No, the AI behind us is getting too smart. It's getting too smart.
That's true. Gosh.
And you're not getting any responses that's like, hey, this is not cool.
Nope. It just showed
I just realized that Matt probably has seen my dick at some point.
And
it's not because I wanted him to see it. I just had it out at some point.
Wait a second. So it was involuntary?
Well, no, I was just saying that it was one of these things that I was like, hey, who wants to see it? And I said, show of hands. Because I love a good democracy. And
Yeah.
so I said, show of hands as to who wants to see it. Show of hands as to who doesn't want to see it. And honestly, seers outvoted the no seers. So
Okay.
just saying.
All right. Cool.
Well, for anybody that's listening, if you go to atticamassacre.com, there's a whole bunch of pictures. You can click on the very first picture, and it's the map that I've been trying to put in the chat for 15 minutes now or whatever.
Man, okay. So you said atticamassacre.com?
Yeah.
That's very macabre.
Yeah.
It's going to redirect you to a very sketchy subreddit followed by a very sketchy 4chan
It does
post.
not. Stop it.
Well, so if you want to check my material out, you can go to onlyfans.com/onlyseenmypeen. And yeah, I'm just saying. Like,
Oh,
at a party.
Brandon has it on Polaroid, bro.
Oh, hell. In his shrine, in his Daniel shrine.
At that point,
yeah, there you go.
At
that
that
resolution,
point,
man.
when you convert anything into Polaroid, it's officially art. It's art. Okay.
Oh, that's some funny shit, man. All right. Well, so we are going to be actually shit. I need to start the episode first. We need to start recording, Larry.
Yep.
Holy hell.
Oh, we record
I
these?
apologize.
I haven't been
Oh,
recording.
we're a mess.
I know. Dude, oh my God. I can't wait to shut up and let Allie talk because holy hell. She'll do a lot gooder job.
Perfect.
So
Nailed it.
you ready to record, dude?
Yep.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, record. Oh my gosh. I just hit delete all.
That's what I do every single time.
Oh my God. All right. Let's just fucking kick this bad boy off and have some fun. Have some fun with a very dark topic.
It's gonna be a little bit. Wow. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We can make some fucked up comments about these things and make them funny, I guess.
We could
By overhyping our comedic abilities, I believe that.
First of all, yes. Second of all, we're bringing levity to a very grave topic.
We're
It wouldn't be so bad for this first episode.
Okay, cool. All right.
But then
for this first episode,
yeah.
it's like everything was calm until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So let's kick this bad boy off because I'm excited to hear about it. So here we go.
Thanksies.
What is up, everybody? You have just tuned into the Tether Radio podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. I'm your host, Daniel, and I'm joined, as always, by Allie and Larry. Woo!
Yeah.
I mean,
You see-
okay, Larry, anything?
Yeah, it went back to not coming through. I don't understand. Last week fucked us.
Well, okay. Apparently, with YouTube, you can either have video or you can have audio.
There was a period of like 3 episodes or two or 3 episodes where it was like, all right, we'll let you do it, and then I think it's Discord, dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It is coming through Discord.
It's Discord.
Oh, but hang on, the video's not coming through Discord, is it?
Yes, because we're on a video call on Discord.
Well, but I thought that when we did
I'm
live YouTube
I'm routing
stuff,
it to
was through
YouTube. I'm routing it to
Okay. Okay, I didn't understand that. Okay. Now I do. I hate everything, and I'm going to launch myself out this window.
Welcome
Allie,
to
please help me.
It feels like we're overcomplicating it, I think.
you. Intro to Technology with Daniel, who covers technology.
Well, so wait.
With Larry, who overcomplicates it. Like, why don't we just do it on YouTube to
Absolutely.
start with?
Yeah. Why don't we just do it through YouTube? Like directly.
Let me think. No, not being sarcastic at all.
Yeah.
Because
No, we don't have to do this on air. It's just like
I wondered
something.
if it was an easy answer. If it's not,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
no, I guess the easy answer is YouTube won't capture 2 video inputs.
But we only need one.
You can't start a chat. You can't start a video call on YouTube.
Okay, so what if we did an audio on Discord and then video on? No, because then it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. That makes sense, kind of.
Well, now it's us overcomplicating it.
Dude, what if I was to tell you that, like, honestly, I can't finish my statement
You're
because of that look.
door-to-door salesman.
What if I was to tell you that, like, honestly, if you order from me right now, I have twice the number of Tupperware you were originally going to get for the same price.
This sounds expensive, but it's a concentrate. So you put it in, you mix it with water, and it goes so much further than your normal cleaning supplies.
Exactly.
I thought we were talking about Tupperware. Yeah. So
I'm a different salesman.
Wait a second. Are we two salesmen trying to sell to each other?
I was going to go. I was going to go along with it and be like, okay, so hear me out. Yes, the concentrate turns into Tupperware, right? So
like those little sponge pills that turn into dinosaurs.
Yes,
like
yeah.
Sponge pill dinosaurs episode title.
How misleading would that be?
Cool. This episode about the Attica uprising.
Yeah.
This isn't lighthearted.
Yeah.
I was here about sponge dinosaurs.
SpongeBob dinosaurs? Yeah. Wait, Attica. Come on, man.
What a twist.
Holy shit.
Like,
yeah,
what's his name entered the chat? I forgot his name. Shyamalan. Sham.
No.
M. Night Shyamalan, yeah.
Oh, Megan and I just recently started a movie with Jason Statham called The Beekeepers, something like that.
I think it's pronounced Beekeepers.
Beekeepers.
It was starring Jason Statham. It's called The Beekeepers.
Did he like talk to his bees? Did he keep the bees up to date?
No, it's another action film thing that it's like, oh yeah, you know, like once a
misleading title,
right? It's like
it's a documentary about the like dying of the American honeybee.
I've seen that documentary on the hub.
Yeah.
That's a weird one.
Oh no, step bro.
No, it starts off with Jason Statham's mom getting stuck in a dryer, and then
I thought she was stuck in a beehive.
She's stuck.
That's why they have the beekeepers.
Look, she was trying to extract honey, and then the step bro or the step.
I think the step bro was trying to extract some honey.
Well,
if you know what I mean.
I think he might have been trying to put in some honey.
Something was being extracted and put somewhere. Is where I'm getting.
Oh my god, this is already off the rails. So fucking A. So if you're tuning in just now, apologies and you're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this is episode 300 of the Tether Radio podcast.
Man, we did it.
That's a 3 dos zeros.
Man.
And holy shit, man. Allie has taken it upon herself to prepare a fucking phenomenal, and I'm saying this in advance because I know it's going to be awesome, a presentation on like basically what the Attica prison riots were.
Yep.
Now, if you don't know about them, like me, I've heard of them, but I know very little about it.
I know about them in theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
But legit, that's all I know. I literally know the title of this.
I've asked so many people for weeks leading up to this. I'd be like, "Do you know anything about the Attica prison riot?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, I've heard of it." And I'm like, "Perfect. Don't look it up. Let me teach you."
Yeah.
I'm like, stay that way because I'm gonna read this beast of a book about it, and then I'm gonna tell you all about it. And
it's wild. It's been a long time since I've looked into like videos and documentaries about it, but it's insane.
Yeah.
I got nothing. So I'm absolutely looking forward to it.
I'm going into this like straight. I mean, it's really no. I'm really not. There's no difference here, but I'm going into it straight, like open-minded, willing to just hear about it all over again, learn everything about it.
Man.
Yeah.
All about the learning experience.
Also, I keep daydreaming. I'm like, what if last podcast covers this in a few months and I get to be like, I did this first.
That would be awesome.
That would be so cool.
Have they covered it? Did you look?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa,
They haven't covered. That's so surprising.
No, that's why I'm like, what if they do? What if they do?
my God.
We're
That
going to
would
have
be
to keep
super
an eye
cool.
out on any podcasts that cover it after today.
Clearly, they're copying us.
Absolutely.
Duh.
I mean, we have the
Come on.
exclusive
Come on.
on this event that
The
happened.
reach that we have.
Yeah.
And
Come
it's
on.
not like the
It's
book that I
incredible.
used won a Pulitzer or is anything that people have heard of.
What
so.
book?
Dude, at any point, even during our live episodes, we could have, I don't know, anywhere between like 2 and 5 people commenting back to us. Like, come on. You guys got those numbers last podcast?
Yeah.
Get at us.
Yeah, dude. I mean, come on. Get those interaction numbers up and then talk to us.
Yeah.
All right.
But honestly, I kind of like that because it just feels more personal. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
it's
to be
like having Brandon and Matt over there,
Yeah.
just like fucking like being like, dude, what the fuck?
Yep.
Like this, that, and the other. I
Mhm.
love it. It's fun. So, anywho, Allie, you want to take it away?
You don't want to do like how was your week or anything like
Yeah,
that?
we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Well, you want to start off?
No. I
All
have
right.
been so balls deep in the Attica stuff that I have been dreaming about it.
Really?
Like I can't get out of it. It's so interesting, and it's I read the whole book, and now I'm pretty much skim rereading it the second time to do my notes.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
God, dude. Yeah. Larry, eventually me and you are gonna have to like tag team a subject.
Like doing this though.
Yeah.
Like I would do this anyway. So
Yeah, but I feel bad because
It's
it's like a big like episode comes around, you're like, oh yeah, I'll take this, and then Larry and I are just like, okay,
it works.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
I like it. It works.
But-
for me.
Listen, we have done it before and we've made it work before. We've done several we covered Big Pharma together. And then kinda. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like we didn't do like an 8-part episode.
No, it was just a one
covering a book
yeah.
and all of it. So I feel like that's kind of apples to oranges. I
Dude,
agree. We can.
every now and then I still think back to the cave analogy that you taught me about. Dude, that's fucking wild.
Cave analogy. Remind me what I taught you
The-
about.
Plato?
Yeah,
Plato's
Plato's-
like the
Yeah.
the shadows on the wall. kind of
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hadn't heard of that before?
No, I never before that I never heard of it. And
Oh.
yeah, it was like perception. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. But dude, this is the wild thing about just literally just reading shit and just
Allegory of the
you
Cave,
know,
that's what it was.
Allegory of the Cave, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so much shit out there that is not talked about because everybody gets like in their own like little like whatever lane kind of thing,
Mhm.
and then they do their shit. That it's like, man, trying to get off the beaten path, you know,
Yeah.
and like cover something that it's like, I mean, shit, dude, we covered tardigrades on this motherfucker.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how many people, like, obviously a lot of people know about them, but it's like, but how much do you know about a tardigrade?
Yeah.
How much
it's
do
like
you
a
know?
pet subject of yours.
Yeah.
How much do you really know
So,
about
fun.
Mattress Firm? Let's just put that out
Damn
there.
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, someone. So,
Larry, I'm also convinced that Jaboni's pizza place has to be a front because there's never
100%.
anybody there. Okay,
100%.
thanks.
Have you guys eaten there yet?
No.
it's
Okay, so
where
Megan and I are
West
gonna go
Hills
eat there.
Flats and Taps was before, right?
Yeah.
It's-
Correct.
Yeah.
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 Every time I think to go eat there, it's a Sunday and they're not open.
Oh, they're not open on Sundays?
No, again, because
What are
they're
they,
fucking
Chick-fil-A?
front.
Yeah.
They're front. Like I don't like. They're never open. There's never anybody there. Like even
Do you
when
think it
there's, like,
sucks? Have we looked at reviews?
it's expensive. I looked at like the menu.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
expensive. Okay, we're out.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if I'm getting fucking expensive pizza, I'm going to fucking Baker Boy.
Yup.
Because it's worth it.
Yup.
Period.
Catching a flight to
And
Chicago.
by the way, Megan, did you see Megan's shirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Brandon, for wishing us a happy 300. And it's
Woo!
very
Thank
optimistic of you to say millions. I would start out with hundreds first. Okay.
Well, I mean, like,
keep it-
honestly,
let's keep it realistic.
I think that the yeah.
realistic expectations. Don't put that type of pressure on me, Brandon. That's there. Come on.
Well, I mean, like, and honestly, I just want to ask the studio audience, how do you guys feel about the 300th episode? Oh no! Like honestly, no, guys.
Please, please.
please calm down.
Please
It's okay.
continue to clap.
I totally had nothing
Yeah.
to do with it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So now I want to ask our real studio audience.
Yep. That
That's
tracks. That
accurate.
tracks.
Yep, crickets. Yep.
Well, they sound enthusiastic.
Yeah, those are some enthusiastic crickets. I'll tell you that much.
Uh,
All right, so, jeez, I
Yeah?
hope that wasn't my son's head.
I was gonna say, I
Anyway.
think she just threw Finn down the stairs.
Yeah, all good. He probably deserved it.
there it is.
Anywho, so Allie, your week.
Attica.
No, doing that stuff.
Sane had a flash event, so I went and got the Baker Boy logo tattooed.
Yes, because Baker Boy is that effing good.
Starting a
dude.
gang.
If you find yourself in like even remotely close to what downtown,
Yeah, it's Cherry Street.
I'm
It's off
coming for
Cherry
you,
Street.
Matt. I'm coming for you. Sorry.
but it is delicious New York style pizza.
Yeah,
And they have these other things that are called rolling pins.
just
Yeah.
obscene, huge mozzarella sticks that
It's
are
literally like a quarter
incredible.
pound.
Yeah,
It's like a quarter pound, like flipping
I
mott
think
stick.
it is a quarter pound. I think.
It might be. I,
think
don't
it
know.
is.
But it's legit. It's like flipping,
Phrasing.
you know, at least half as big as my penis, and then definitely only half as long. So no, but it's legit, dude. It's like a flipping.
It's like the size of like a nightstick.
Yeah, it literally.
to
You could
be to be an Attica mind about it.
you could either really dine down on some flipping motts, or you could assail someone.
Yes.
Like
yes.
those are your options.
Let's have no, never mind. So someone this week made just a random comment, and I just happened to be in
Where?
hearing distance. I'm not going to mention where. I'm not going to mention
okay.
where. And
Larry can't ever give any context for anything. You know
Yeah,
that.
Larry, you know you have to give us something to go on because, like if this was at the grocery store, it would be way different.
it was
than if you were
not
in
at a grocery
sex
store.
shop.
It was at an
So,
environment where you spend a lot of your time professionally. Anyway,
bathroom. Still,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, somebody mentioned just a topic about mattress stores, and I was like, guys, I was looked at like I had a fucking dick written, like drawn on my forehead. Like, no one thinks of these things. Like, come
It's
on.
a pretty common thing. Like
Yeah,
mattress stores being
it's a running.
fronts.
It's a running. Yeah,
Yeah.
dealio. So
But it's also you've got to be like a certain level of 2 online to know it.
yeah.
Also, I
true.
may have come across as way too excited to talk about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you were in the bathroom, you blasted out of the stall, and you were like, "Have you
my
heard
pants are
about
still
mattress
down.
sperm?"
My pants are still below my. You know,
You do the like waddle up, like with your pants around your
I
ankle.
heard you guys were talking about mattress stores.
I have a thing to say about mattress stores.
Yeah.
I also,
You're like sweating, maybe some TV stuck on your foot. Like, dude, honestly, it was a fucking scene.
off topic real quick. Used mattresses for sale on Facebook Marketplace. What do we think about that?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I-
some people come across hard times, but I'm gonna try.
I
my
know,
best
no,
not to.
I com-
Yeah, but
completely understand.
like honestly, that's gonna be the last thing that I try to
Yeah.
buy secondhand,
Yeah.
personally.
Well, it's only Wednesday, so that's been the highlight of my week. It got me really.
What, trying to buy a used mattress?
No. Someone talked about mattress stores, and I got really, really excited about it and was looked at weird, which I'm learning to just accept,
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay, guys.
I saw a girl on TikTok. She was just like set up her camera somewhere and was taking pictures of like her outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And she said an older woman stopped her and was like, "Do you ever get embarrassed about people seeing you take pictures?" And she just like looked at the lady and she was like, "I don't think I've ever been embarrassed in my fucking life."
Love that.
That's not a vibe.
Love
like,
that, dude.
just do what you like, man. If it's not hurting anybody,
Yeah.
like let them cringe. I'm having
Yeah.
a good time.
Yeah, dude.
Let live in that person's mind rent free. Who cares?
I do miss the days of like, which I can't complain about this because I don't go to shows anymore, but like the days of not having phones up in the air, you know.
Yeah.
I miss that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, fuck, man, you know, everybody, you do you.
I'm a little guilty of it because then I set them as my phone backgrounds. So like,
oh, well, but that's the thing is, it's like, especially if you like, there's a really cool like fucking scene going on. It's hard not to, you know. But yeah, man, there's just, I don't know.
That reminds me, I gotta delete a lot of firework videos that I have sitting in my phone.
What? All right. Anyway,
that's the whitest person thing you've ever said.
Yeah, I know. That's where I was going with that. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Can I just go ahead and like self-appoint myself a minority on this podcast? Larry, tell us about your week, dude.
I just did, dude. That was it.
That was this week.
Oh shit. Okay.
Did I text anything to the group chat that I just kind of wanted to save for a little bit? No, I didn't. No. That's it.
All right. I was trying to think. I feel like I watched. Okay, so I finished a book that Allie let me read, or let me read.
She said, "Yes, you are allowed to read that.
You may read.
You may read."
She let me borrow it. It's called The Guest List by
Lucy Foley. I just had to look.
I could remember. I could remember the last name, Foley.
Yeah.
Just because there was a thing in the book called the Foley or whatever. Like I can't remember what it was. It's like a I don't fucking know what it was. But anyway, at first I was like, I got to about 50% into the book, and I was like, I'm not sure that Allie like knows what like I would even be remotely entertained by. Like, and then I got to like 55, 60, 65, and I was like, the fucking wheels were coming off everything in a like very entertaining way.
Yeah.
And like, holy shit, it went from like 0 to hero real fucking quick.
Nice. Speaking of hero, sorry to interrupt, but you know my train of thought, and I'm sincerely sorry for this. I listened to 15 minutes of the episode where you and Miri did it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I hear you, bro. I hear you.
Yeah. No, honestly, I think that like in the future, if by chance stuff falls through and stuff, I'll just pull Megan in, man. Because honestly, it's just fun.
You've already done more than Larry does. Okay.
No, dude, she legit was like, I'll come up with some "Am I the Assholes?"
I'm
like,
proud of her for learning the acronyms though, because those throw you off. You know, especially if you're not on Reddit often.
And she is not.
A lot of those are like old message board things.
Yeah,
like Megan is very naive to the internet. Like as much as she's like,
she's in fucking program. She creates software, or not?
Yeah, but she can create. She can create websites and software. But
yeah,
she's
that's
not
true.
on.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like
she
being a process.
Way different shit.
No, don't say it. No, sorry.
Inner like thoughts being a prostitute.
It's
Hang
like being
we're talking about my wife.
It's like being a sex worker in the porn industry and wanting to come home and have sex. I feel like yes, there are different,
but I think it's different though.
Yeah,
I think that's quite a bit different. Yeah.
So
I'll just take a back seat. Shut up. Sorry. Continue with.
Okay. Well, I was just talking about my week, but we took Finn on a scout hike that was 3.5 miles long. He was the only 6-year-old on the hike. It was hilarious.
Were the kids all older?
Like at least 2 years older. And so we showed up and we were like, this might be a little too long. And then like the hike started going, which I don't know if Brandon, you might have gone on this hike, but it's that House Mountain Trail. But like, it's not easy. It's not super difficult, but it sure is fucking easy kind of thing. And I was just really proud of my son to like fucking just like get down to the nitty gritty and fucking do it.
Hell
like,
yeah.
Awesome,
I
dude.
was impressed with him. And so we were like, you know what? Since you did that good and you whined like legit, a fraction of the amount of the older kids and adults, like parents that went. We were like, dude, we'll get you a camelback, and then we'll take you on more of these. And like, you know, because
awesome.
he seemed to like have a good time.
Yeah.
You know? But anyway, so enough with this lighthearted bullshit. Let's get down to brass tacks. Allie, I
Yeah.
think that you've got a little bit of stuff about, I don't know,
I got a little bit.
the Attica prison riot.
Yeah.
Who is she again?
Hate you so much. Okay. So, this will not be as long as West Memphis 3, but
Hey, two words.
It might be pretty close.
Prove it.
Like initially, I was like, I could probably do this in like 3 episodes, and I'm like, I probably could.
What's
do
the
it in
over
5.
under again? Didn't we have an over under?
Shit, we did, didn't we?
We did. I can't remember. We'll have
I don't
to.
remember.
If you're watching, put your over under as far as how long it's going to take.
episodes?
Yeah, it's going to take Allie to
How
cover
many
this.
episodes?
I'm gonna aim for 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna try really hard.
I want to say that you said 3 and I said 4.
Yeah. Okay.
But I could be
I
wrong.
think I was thinking I could do it in 2,
This is
and I
gonna-
don't know why
this-
I thought that.
Allie, so you're saying this is going to go into fucking June?
Well, we're already in May,
Yes.
True.
so probably yeah.
Love it.
Hey, do you want to party or do you want to fucking party?
Hey, let's work for y'all. All you gotta do is sit here.
Wait,
Commentate.
Yeah, we have to come up with like, oh shit, light stuff. Maybe for if there's even an untethered.
Like,
So,
oh damn, fuck, really?
here we go.
All right, so a little bit of an intro, just to like a very short-ish summary of the Attica prison uprising of 1971.
Okay.
If you somehow haven't heard, prisons in America are currently and historically not great. They're not great. They were actually
what I heard.
worse in 1971 than they are now. And if you didn't already know that, we can't be friends. So there were a lot of deaths at this. It was brutal. And
Okay, so this was during Nixon. I had to look that up.
yeah.
So I wanted to see what president we were under.
All attention
They-
was
Guys.
on Watergate at the time. I'm not sure if that's a fact. I'm just
No, it wasn't. Not in 71.
okay. Cool.
Thanks for playing though. Yep.
Yeah, participate.
All right, Larry, me and you, speaking privileges revoked.
Muting now.
Watergate was 72 to 74. It hadn't happened yet. So a lot of prison uprisings though. This time.
Okay.
So after this one was over, 43 people had died, including prisoners, hostages, and law enforcement agents. Some of the hostages were civilians. We'll get into that too. And pretty much every single death was caused by law enforcement agents and not the prisoners,
Okay.
which the news had a field day saying the prisoners did all this.
Oh, of course.
Well, yeah. That's
Easy target, and good luck defending yourself.
Yeah.
So.
They're already criminals. What are they going to say?
So pretty much anybody whose name I use in all of my covering of this, I'm using their name because they have some key part, like they'll come back up at some point, or
Gotcha.
or they're just a crucial part of the story. If you don't want to be spoiled about who in particular dies, don't Google anybody's name, because usually if you Google like first name, last name, Attica, it will be like, this guy died from injuries sustained during the Attica uprising. So like, if you don't want to know, don't Google them to see what they look like, because you'll see that before a picture.
Just go on the ride with us, friends.
Yep. But if I would encourage you to look up the map, like I said, there's one at atticamassacre.com. It's like on the homepage. There's a kind of blueprint looking map.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. When the uprising actually starts, that helps you to get a handle on like what the fuck it's talking about.
Gotcha. Okay. Dude, these prisons are huge.
Yeah, there were like 2,300 guys in it at the time of this. It was
Wow.
overcrowded though too. The book that I used was Blood in the Water by Heather Ann Thompson. It won a fucking Pulitzer,
Oh wow.
as it should have. It
Yeah.
was so well researched and well written, and like it's twice as long of a book, maybe longer than that, than what I used for West Memphis 3.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more about this one, really do go get the book, because I'm not gonna cover the whole fucking book.
Yeah.
Not this time.
And what was it called again?
Blood in the Water.
Blood in the Water. Got it.
So the author did this huge amount of really hard research. There's still to this day records of the uprising that the public can't access. The one files that are out there that are not sealed are really hard to get to too.
Yeah, of course.
Like the government just really wanted people not to know what all went down.
Yeah, dude.
It didn't paint the government very well.
Imagine that.
She, like, the citations in her book, it was like every other sentence is cited. Like, I mean, she's not winging anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much, but it's
that's
still,
awesome.
it reads really easy still. It's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
it doesn't read like a textbook.
But like you said, she's absolutely done her like research.
Yeah.
So,
Like there's a ton of quotes. There's a ton,
Yeah.
oh man, it's great. It stayed interesting through the whole thing, but it got kind of in the weeds a little towards the end regarding the court cases, but that's totally because of the court cases, not because of this author.
yeah.
So Attica is still functioning today, by the way. Didn't realize that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. It's a maximum security prison in a small town in western New York. It's sort of close to Buffalo.
Okay.
I don't really know my New York geography very well, so
I'm really stupid, especially New England states. Man,
Yeah.
I'm really stupid.
Attica was built in the 1930s and is still operating today. So in September of 1971, which is when the uprising was, there were 2,243 prisoners crowded into this prison. Most of them were young, urban, undereducated, and either Black or Puerto Rican. More than 2/3 of the prisoners had been incarcerated at least once before getting to Attica, but they weren't necessarily the worst of criminals. Like, people always make Attica to be out like the worst of the worst. Like it's all like
Supermax.
murderers and rapists. And it's a maximum security, but like a lot of these guys were younger guys who had just violated parole, like sometimes by accident.
So, and I'm sorry, I'll
Yeah.
try not to do this
You're good.
much, but like, I don't understand how they decide, like, oh, I mean, like, it makes sense that it's like, oh, yeah, like somebody that's killed a zillion people.
Sure,
or
they
something.
need to be
It's
in
like,
maximum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
it's like, how do you really parse, like,
I don't know.
and like, or is it just availability, not availability, but like room or like,
I think that's part of
kind
it.
of.
I don't know how they decided, honestly. There were two 19-year-old twins named James and John Schley. They were originally convicted. John was convicted of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and James was convicted of cutting a hole in a lady's convertible top, which he paid her back for and still had to serve time for.
what?
Yeah.
What?
So the two of them had violated parole and got put in Attica.
Uh,
Are these hardened criminals? Like,
honestly, well, I mean, shit, dude.
About as hardened
do
as
you
that
think-
top on the
you think-
car.
right?
Well, do you think that any people that own convertibles can like sleep easy knowing that he's out there on the streets?
No, dude. Like,
Like, what if he cuts a hole in my convertible?
are you
No.
telling me
Anyway.
that my Chrysler LeSabre is going to be safe? I don't even know if
It's a
that's
Sebring, bro.
Sebring. There it is. Hey,
Sebring.
there you go.
Oh, come on.
Buick makes LeSabre.
Yeah,
How
there
dare
you
you.
Okay.
Don't you dare.
Thank you.
Another guy named Elliot Barkley, he went by LD Barkley. He violated his parole by driving without a license, and he got sent to Attica. He was 21. Like, these are not, a lot of these are young
Driving
guys.
without a license.
Yeah,
Wow,
thrown
dude.
in Attica.
Yeah.
Like, phew. A lot of the younger prisoners were there because of drug addiction. The author does a really good job of like humanizing the inmates, but not making them out to be like completely innocent to where like you
Yeah.
can, but like she does a really
Sure.
good job of making them out to be people.
Dude, more
Yeah.
people need to like humanize individuals.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow. Things are put in such a different light
Yeah.
when that happens.
Like
but
the first thing that I wrote in the margin of my book was humanizing the inmates and
Yeah.
like underlined it because it was just so refreshing to
they're not
see.
just a fucking number kind
Yeah.
of thing.
There's a kid named Angel Martinez. He's 17 and he's Puerto Rican. He got addicted to heroin because he was using it to alleviate his pain from his polio.
Jeez.
And he ended up committing a crime to feed his habit, and a judge sent him to Attica. He didn't speak or understand any English. There was one Spanish-speaking correctional officer at Attica, and all of his fellow COs insisted that he only use English with the inmates. So like nobody had a good time at Attica, but if you didn't understand any of the COs, you're even worse off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Every prisoner would get assigned to a housing block, and they were the letters A, B, C, D, E. A through D were each 3 stories high, and they had 2 wings. And then there's also housing block Z or HBZ, which is like pretty much what we now think of as like solitary.
Gotcha.
They use it for disciplinary reasons.
Yeah.
And it was like every guy's like worst nightmare was getting put in HBZ.
Yeah.
And they did it a lot. So each of those 5 blocks held 500 prisoners, and then each had its own exercise yard. So each block was split into 12 groups of 40 to 45 men called a company. So like you've got your whole prison, and then you might have 500 guys in A block. And then in that, you've got 12 companies. So you might be A block 9 company.
Okay.
Just kind of like how you would call like your homeroom class or something, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
The cell blocks were already really uninviting. They were coated with rust and then just layers and layers of peeling paint. They hadn't really done anything to the prison in the 40 years that it had been open.
Yeah.
Just kept painting over the rust.
Yep.
And then some of the cells were even worse. Some of them had bars, so you hardly had any privacy. And then others had these steel doors with just these little bitty slots to see out of. So then you were claustrophobic.
Yeah.
So like,
Ugh.
yeah, neither of them's great. Your block assignment correlated to your job. So harshest jobs like snow shoveling were done by what they called grading companies. The best jobs were the commissary, which, you know, is like the shop thing where you can buy.
Yeah.
And then the laundry and the hospital. So most of the prisoners earned no more than 6 cents per day.
That's
At their job.
insane, dude.
Yes.
And even in fucking 71,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to look up, like,
I'm doing
it's
it
not
right
gonna be
now.
much.
Yeah.
The best paid men were getting $2.90 per day, which was still not enough to survive on in the prison. We'll get into why. Overwhelmingly, the white prisoners were assigned to the higher paying jobs. And then even those white people assigned to the worst jobs were almost always started off at a higher pay rate than the black or the Puerto Rican prisoners in those same jobs, just because they were white. Did you convert it?
So no, I'm working on the conversion. Sorry.
Okay, you're fine. They needed money because the state offered each prisoner. Here's a list of what you got being in the prison. Okay, you got
50 cents basically.
50 cents a day.
Yeah.
In today's money.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Good luck buying anything.
Yep.
Ever.
So here's what you get. You get a really thin coat, which remember we're like near Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
It gets cold.
Cold. Understatement.
You're doing snow shoveling. It's a cold area.
Yeah.
So you get a thin coat, 2 work shirts, 3 pairs of pants, 1 pair of shoes, 3 pairs of underwear, 6 pairs of socks. Now we're talking.
Oh.
And a comb. You get a comb.
Wait. So why would you not get the same number of pairs of underwear as socks?
I don't know.
3 pairs of underwear. You flip them inside out. Like what do you do?
Maybe
there?
you wear out your socks faster.
I mean, like honestly,
I don't know.
So okay. I don't understand how laundry works in like a fucking prison. So you take your clothes off, and do they wash your shit every day? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's no way that they go through all that laundry every day.
No, you had to wash your own socks and underwear.
Okay.
Yeah. So then each month prisoners got 1 bar of soap and 1 roll of toilet paper.
For a month?
And that meant that they could use 1 sheet per day because of how small the rolls were. I bolded that because I was like, I reread that sentence like 5 times. I was like,
you know,
it
it's
has to
single
be.
ply.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Like,
it's barely I'm sure that 1 sheet disintegrates,
Yeah.
and you're just literally cupping shit.
yeah. So if you want any extra toilet paper, or if you want a toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, or shampoo, you had to buy those. Like, those weren't supplied.
That's fucking wild.
And then the men were only allowed 1 shower a week. And they were given 2 quarts of water a day, which they had to use to wash their socks and underwear, shave if you bought a razor, brush your teeth, and clean the cell to like the really picky standards of the correctional officers. Most of the men didn't have any family that could send money, and the ones that could spare a little to come visit was like over $100 in travel costs because you had to take a bus. The bus didn't run all the way there, so then you had to get cab fare too, and then back to the bus, and then like plus you had to be free about 20 hours to get it all done because like how the buses run and everything.
That's fucking wild,
Yeah.
dude.
And then the state had hardly any budget for food. They weren't even able to meet the federal guidelines for the minimum dietary standards. So working in the kitchen was really desirable because you might be able to eat leftovers and not go to bed hungry.
Oh man.
It almost seems like it was systematically the worst case scenario. You know what I'm saying? Going like.
Well, and this was basically the norm. Like Attica wasn't really unique. That's
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The men spent 15 to 24 hours a day in their cells. They were bored, frustrated, and on edge. They weren't allowed to speak in their cells after 8 p.m. like at all. So the evenings are just long.
Oh man.
They had really strict rules, and they were really petty and just inconsistently enforced. So like you might get in trouble for talking in line on the way to the mess hall.
Yeah.
But then you might not, and you just never knew. You might not get in trouble at all, or you might get in like big trouble. And so one of the punishments they gave them would to be put them in keep lock for just an indefinite amount of time, which is just like you're stuck in your cell for 24 hours a day. Angel Martinez, the 17-year-old with polio, he couldn't go to work for 2 days because of how much pain he was in, and they put him in keep lock for a month for punishment.
So, and I don't know if you have this or remember this off the top of your head. I'll look it up otherwise.
Yeah.
The cells, do we have an idea as to how big those are?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, they made it out to be that they were very tiny because like you couldn't
minuscule.
really even move around in the cells.
Yeah.
Which is most prisons, you know.
Yeah.
The men really tried to stay healthy because their medical care was so lacking. There were 2 doctors who came to the prison every day, but they usually spoke to prisoners just through like a mesh screen. So I'm imagining like how you do confession.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they hardly ever actually examined them. Usually just gave them an aspirin and put them on their way.
Jeez.
Prisoners that had chronic health issues got their minor issues would eventually turn acute. So one really key prisoner in all this, Frank Smith, they called him Big Black. He lost almost all his teeth in a couple years because he couldn't get a referral to a dentist.
And they're not even supplying fucking toothpaste and toothbrushes,
No.
which is like fucking normal hygiene.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is just proof that we're not ready for AI.
Yeah.
I looked up like how big are Attica prison cells, you know? According to digital collections, the cells at Attica prison in New York are 5 by 7 inches.
Oh. What is this, a prison for ants?
It's like Stuart
dude,
Little.
No, this is the most fucking useless bullshit ever. Anyway, they said another one said about 6 by 8 feet.
Okay.
And that sounds actually probably.
And then you've also got to think you've got a tiny little toilet in there, and then like maybe like one shelf and your bed
kind of thing.
Like,
I mean, literally, there's probably
no room.
no room.
Yeah.
You can probably sit on your bed or
in the
stand.
Floor. Yeah, pretty much.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So
these doctors also didn't speak Spanish, and they never asked for an interpreter. So Angel Martinez would roll up his pant legs to show them how swollen his legs were, and they just didn't do anything.
Jeez, dude.
And then it gets worse. Sometimes doctors would come in and do medical experiments on the prisoners. One of the doctors said years later, yeah, the prisoners signed informed consent agreements, but you could argue about how informed they were.
You think?
Yeah, most of them couldn't read.
I was gonna say
very well,
or even speak English. So guess what?
Yes. What is it? Just sign it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
Prisoners were also unclear on why some of them qualified for parole and some did not. So those that were granted parole weren't allowed to leave the prison until they secured a job on the outside.
How would you do that?
That's how.
Let me tell you.
It's like, hey, we need 15 years experience.
Yeah.
Also,
no criminal history. You're writing from where?
Yeah, yeah.
So they had to use,
Katika.
they were given outdated phone books. They had to buy their own paper and postage, and most of them could barely write. And a lot of the prisoners were known to write 200 to 300 letters before getting a single response.
Wow, dude.
Imagine knowing like you're free to go once you get a job and you're just trying for months to get a job.
Insane, dude.
And then the mail that was sent to the prisoners and any publications that were requested by them, prisons look through that stuff
yeah,
before they get
yeah.
it to you.
Yeah, yeah.
They really censored the stuff that came to Black or Puerto Rican inmates a whole lot more than they did to white ones. And they never had to justify any reasons for that.
Yeah.
One of the lawyers for the Department of Correctional Services said that the Black Muslims had the same type of restrictions as any other religious sect, but that we would use greater caution and vigil with this group. And also, anything that was not in English was just immediately thrown out. So, that's fun. Visitation rules also fucked over the people of color more because the prison didn't recognize common law relationships for any letters that were coming in or for visitation. So, like, if you had a common law wife and kids from that common law marriage, you couldn't see your wife or kids. And it was something like between like 20 and 26% of the one was 20, one was 26 of the Black and Puerto Rican populations were common law married.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. The overcrowding, the overcrowding was really stressful to the prisoners and to the correction officers. Officer John Stockholm was shocked when he realized that he was put in charge of 60 to 70 inmates at a time, and sometimes as many as 120, and all he had was a nightstick. And
So, I mean, not to take the but like it sounds like everybody here is just not,
everyone's fucked.
like, yeah. This is a fucking powder keg.
Yep.
Waiting for a spark.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's what this sounds
And it
like.
had been coming.
Yeah.
And they knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that kept the prison running smoothly was that the prisoners just generally obeyed the rules and the COs. The profile of the prisoners coming to Attica was starting to change, though, and more of the incoming inmates were being young, politically aware, and determined to speak out when they saw injustices in the facility. Which, good. Yeah. You should.
I mean, yes.
Yeah. These were Black and brown youth who had been deeply impacted by the civil rights struggles in America at the time and had been influenced by the writings of Malcolm X and Che Guevara. And now there's this cycle that keeps repeating. The COs at Attica believe that they need to come down harder on these younger and more militant prisoners. So then they resorted to the exact type of intimidation, verbal abuse, and petty rule enforcement that just about promised they would get a militant prisoner response.
Yep.
And then that increased prisoner solidarity with each other and their militancy. And then the COs became even more aggressive. So it's just a spiral.
It's just this ratcheting
Ramping up,
kind of
ramping
thing.
up,
There are very little things that create a strong bond to revolt more than going through injustice together, whether it's on a minimal level or on this extreme level.
Yeah.
Well, and even just like yes, injustice, but like misery.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I hate to use the phrase, but misery loves company, man. And like honestly, if it's sucking for everybody, guess what? Y'all got that in common.
Yep.
And you got to get that out somewhere.
Yeah.
So, oh man. Yeah.
So most of the correction officers knew that they needed to show respect and show, hey, we hear these are legitimate grievances and we're hearing you. But they're also bitter and angry and too frightened to really do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the officers are also struggling financially. A lot of them worked 2 jobs just to survive. So they were always exhausted and on edge.
Yeah.
They were hardly fucking trained at all. And then just left to their own devices pretty much to figure out how to deal with more and more prisoners.
Yeah.
So the summer and fall of 1970, a year before the uprising happened at Attica, there started being more uprisings at New York City jails. Attica administrators and state officials did hardly anything to address the concerns of the COs and the prisoners. So, like, everyone is coming to the admin and being like, hey, we're worried.
It's getting ramped up.
Yeah.
So
And the admin's like, well, what are we going to do? Thanks, guys. Well, sounds like a boss.
oh my god.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it's
it.
like, all right,
Yeah.
here, we'll give you another half nightstick.
Yeah.
How about that?
The Attica administrators actually got tougher on prisoners and listened less to their correctional officers during 1970. And then before the New York City jail protests, one happened in Attica in July of 1970.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there was like a little like precursor.
Smaller one, yeah.
Yeah.
The workers in the metal shop refused to work until their wages were raised. They were making between 6 and 29 cents a day. And the officials were keeping half of all their pay until their release. And that meant that they had even less to buy those really basic ass needs.
Like the fucking toothbrushes and toothpaste.
Toilet paper, like shampoo.
Fucking deodorant.
Yeah.
Like what?
And their summers, I mean, we get in like the 90s. Deodorant that's not a luxury at that point.
No.
Like, that's you need. And you're showering once a week, you fucking need deodorant.
Yeah.
So there was a
Or
white
at least some of those like earth crystals. I'm kidding.
there's a white prisoner named Sam Melville. He researched the economics of the metal shop and the commissary and the prison laundry at Attica, and he wrote this expose that was distributed to a lot of the inmates. He's really cool. He was in prison for some bombings to protest Vietnam, and like he was really political, but he made a lot of good points and like did a lot as far as writing and stuff went.
Yeah.
The men were not made aware that Attica had profited almost $1.2 million in 1969 and 1970 by selling their labor.
God, which has to be probably like billions.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. What was it? 6 cents was 50. So that's
50. Yeah. Here, I'm on it.
So at this
like
point in
Got a
time,
million.
8.5 or so.
at this point in time, was Attica a private prison, like privatized prison system, or was it part of the New York government?
It was government.
Okay.
Aren't they all government?
No, some the prisons are privatized. Like private companies own the prisons, and they run them, they staff them, run them, all that. And they.
I know there was a brand that they mentioned that was who did the labor.
It was about 7.7 million.
God.
So
In a year.
Which is
Just
lot
profited
of
off
money.
selling prison labor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money.
So this 1970 protest that July, it started peacefully. There were a group of men that went in to meet with the supervisor of the metal shop. The superintendent, Vincent Mancusi, had these men put in key block and then had several other men just transferred out of Attica completely. Cool. This is going to work well. And definitely not radicalize anybody.
No, not at all.
B block prisoners refused to work because their men had been key blocked. And QC locked down their entire cell block for striking. And then the next day, almost all 450 men in the metal shop refused to work. Mancusi called the commissioner of correction, Paul McGinnis, to let him know. McGinnis was like, I'm not going to punish them anymore. I'm going to ask them to send 2 representatives to talk with me. And they actually got pay increases.
Huh, all right.
So the ones that were making 6 cents were raised to 25, and the maximum rate increased from 29 cents to $1 a day, which still not great.
So we're looking at about $2.
Perfect.
Going up to right under $2
Perfect.
a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Still
Might I
not great.
reiterate?
Not great.
You could probably ask for more. Well, I'm sorry, they couldn't, but
Yeah. Mancusi was still determined to punish the men, even though his higher up said not to.
Of course he was.
Mancusi's a real winner. We're all gonna love him more and more.
Sounds like it.
After the commissioner left, a lot of the strikers got sent to Housing Block Z, which remember is like solitary. Mancusi viewed the prisoner activism as the work of black militant troublemakers who needed to be watched with particular care and to be shut up the instant they spoke out.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in 1970, New York's governor, Nelson Rockefeller, made it a point to say he was getting tougher on crime. And then in 1971, he appointed a new commissioner over corrections who was an outspoken reformer named Russell Oswald. Oswald wanted to improve the lives of the prisoners and the parolees. He wanted to reduce the number of men in traditional prisons. Good. And he had a quote that said, "You couldn't expect somebody to adapt to a normal setting when he is placed for long periods of time in a totally abnormal setting."
Now this is
I mean, that seems very
just
down there.
basic, like why we should reform.
Yeah.
This statement is obviously going to be very premature, but is this what he just ran on versus what the actions were? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of candidates for different positions in government will run on a certain idea and then immediately flip the script once they get elected in. Once they get the job. Okay.
He really was like that. It was just kind of weird that Nelson Rockefeller appointed him because he was like, I'm getting tougher on crime. And then he appoints this guy that's like, we should reform prisons.
Yeah.
You know? So that came across weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And just for time's sake, I'm not going to get into much about the standoff at Auburn prison in 1970, Auburn, New York. Okay. But it foreshadowed a lot of what later happened at Attica. I will say that the prison officials promised those inmates if they surrendered peacefully, they wouldn't have any reprisals. And then they fucking absolutely did.
Oh, yeah.
Including being made to run gauntlets of angry COs with batons, and then 120 men being sent to the segregation unit. Jeez, and inmates in other prisons heard all about this.
Yeah.
There was an assemblyman from Buffalo, Arthur Eve.
So how? I'm wondering how like word spread.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like if
it
they're
did
tearing
and
up,
quickly.
Yeah. Well, no, and I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering like.
There's something that comes up in a little bit that they heard of from California, and they heard like the next day in New York, and I'm like, how?
Yeah,
like
because I mean, you know that like COs aren't spread that shit, and so it's that's fascinating to me. So
this guy Arthur Eve, he comes up a lot more later, but he's an assemblyman from Buffalo. He toured Auburn and said that not only were those leaders now still being treated inhumanely, but that they were fearful for their lives. Commissioner Oswald went to visit these men, and they called them the Auburn Six, and they yelled and threw water at him and called him a racist, and he sounded really in his feelings about it.
Oh man.
And then he changed.
I hate when feelings get hurt.
He changed his tune to match Governor Rockefeller's. These prisoners are becoming too militant.
How about that? Oh, no.
Sucks because he really did mean it about the reform stuff like a year before.
Yeah.
Like a fucking year before.
Yeah.
And then he's like, turns out these guys are mean.
Yeah. God, man.
They said some mean things about me because they feel like they are not being treated correctly.
I can't believe these guys who are being treated like animals.
Do they not know that I had this whole speech? Do they not have a way to hear me say these things?
Right.
I said that I was going to get them up from fucking 6 cents to 10 cents. Come on, man.
I mean,
what do you want from me? I'm not a damn magician, so like, come on.
A lot of that. We'll hear a lot of that. Yeah. By summer of 1971, Oswald had leaned so far into this militant prisoner mindset that he thought the only way to resolve the issue was to remove the problem prisoners. He closed the segregation unit at Auburn and transferred those inmates who were still awaiting their court dates to Attica, where they were put right the fuck back in segregation.
Oh my God. Like, dude, this is like
the foreshadowing, man. Like,
dude, this
if
is
you
literally
didn't know this led to a riot, you would be like, it feels like a riot's coming.
Hey,
this is like
Fred, I have an idea.
Instead of using like prison inmates from different places, you could use different pieces of dynamite that you're piecing together.
Fred, I have this idea. We're having issues over here, right? What if we
kind
take
of issues are you having there?
Well, you know,
ship them here.
They're calling me weird names and they're not acting right. So I know that, you know, this place needs a little bit of attention, but I don't know much about this other place, but I feel like we should move those problem people over here just to kind of
the problems will probably just like evaporate on the trip over.
Like then now we will not have problems in this location.
No more problems.
No more problems in Auburn. Send them over here. the problems will dissipate over time at Attica, and hey, everybody's good. Everything's good.
Now, Fred, I know you
easy, lemon
asked me
squeezy.
about the logistics and about, the treatment and resources available. I'll get back to you on that, but I think
We
this is
are
a solid.
taking that into consideration.
I think this is a solid move.
Yeah.
I
I
think
said that so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
You could
sure,
make a
dude.
drinking game out of, well, we're reviewing that.
Yeah.
Like,
We're reviewing it. We're taking it into consideration. It's,
yeah.
we're going to think this over.
So
I'm gonna
in
sleep on
June,
it.
Sleep on it. Yeah.
we're considering it. We're having meetings about meetings.
Fucking A.
In June of 1971, there was a surprise cell search, and they found a draft of demands. 2 weeks later, Commissioner Oswald got those same 28 demands in a letter that they later called the July Manifesto. The 5 men that signed it called themselves the Attica Liberation Faction. They weren't really very organized. They just needed to put some names on it.
Yeah.
So, like, they weren't so much leaders as just on paper.
Sure.
A copy of that was sent to the governor as well. The letter was really politely worded and was just like trying to tell the officials of the prison conditions. It actually ended stressing, we're not striking, we're not protesting, we are trying to do this in a democratic fashion. Like,
right.
very, like, it was like, dear sirs, we would
Yeah.
like you to consider, like, it was very,
Very like
very
respectful
polite. Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
all that jazz. So
Oswald realizes that these demands are nearly identical to those issued at Folsom Prison a few months before, about 6 months before, 7 months. But like all these prisons are having all the same problems. Of course, you're going to have a lot of similarities in what you're asking for changes.
yeah.
Like,
Or at least that would be my guess.
yeah.
So,
So Oswald replied in a letter thanking the men for their rational approach, and then they replied and said they appreciated that a dialogue had started. A month passed. The faction wrote to Oswald again requesting an update. Oswald replied to say, "We're looking at what improvements need to be made, but that complete change can't happen so fast." And the faction replied, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't need complete change to happen for like some of the things, like we're asking for clean food trays for our meals and for more than one shower in a week in the summer. Like, we're not asking for complete change. These are pretty basic."
yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. So the prisoners start growing more frustrated, and they start forming alliances across ethnic, racial, and political lines, which worried the COs, as it should.
Yes.
Yep. Just to update on the timeline here.
Yeah.
The uprising started on September 9th. So right now, on August 22nd, on the way to breakfast, COs noticed most of the prisoners were wearing a strip of black cloth as an armband. That's never a good sign.
Yeah, when you've got a lot of people doing the same thing
Uh-huh.
that you're not like privy to what
Wow.
that means.
So
Ooh.
they all get to the mess hall and no one eats. And a prisoner finally explains that they are protesting the murder the day before of a prisoner named George Jackson in San Quentin State Prison in California. So that's the thing. Like, how'd y'all hear about that overnight?
Yeah.
Like, so.
This is wild. Like,
Well, this one's kind of a big one. So
Yeah.
Jackson was famous in prison systems across the whole country for his writings on how racist and brutal the American prisons were. Prison officials said that Jackson had tried. Hold on to your butts here.
okay.
Prison officials said Jackson had tried to escape and had pulled a wig off of his head and then uncovered a 9mm automatic pistol. And then he tried to run and a guard shot him. Atticus prisoners was like, "This sounds batshit. What are you?
What?
No.
That
Oh.
is bad shit.
You guys are making the face that I think all the prisoners were making.
Yeah, it's
like,
what?
I read that part and I was like, I don't.
So
Wow.
he had a wig on. He somehow got a 9mm smuggled into him.
Yeah.
No,
None of this
no,
sounds
this is
probable.
totally normal. There's
Yeah.
nothing on my
And
head.
Yeah.
they said, this guy is the most closely monitored man in all of California's prisons. How the fuck did he get a wig and a gun?
Yeah.
And so the Attica prisoners were worried that COs were able to just fucking outright murder an inmate at this point.
It's kind of sounding like
Yeah.
that.
And the solidarity of their refusal to eat that morning showed that Jackson's death worried them and had rallied them. So by the end of August, the COs were getting more nervous. Some of them stopped taking their wallets to work in case anything popped off at the prison.
Now,
One correctional officer.
They stopped taking their
now
wallets
you
to
know
work.
whenever the employees start getting worried.
Dude, they're so worried. Okay, the CO named William Quinn. Every time I typed his name, I typed Quilliam, and I was like, no.
No, that's my second son.
Well, I saw
Quilliam Bradley.
there's a hedgehog. There's a hedgehog I follow online named Quilliam.
Attica Prison Riot Part 1, Quilliam. Show title.
CO William Quinn got his financials in order and showed his wife how to handle their finances. Like that's how much he's like.
It's like I got fucking one foot in the grave and one on a damn banana peel. Figure out our finances, lady.
Poor William Quinn too.
Yeah. Oh no! When names are mentioned,
Foreshadowing.
It doesn't mean they die. It means it's bad. It means it's something.
It's like on fucking
His is bad.
Yeah, but
His
it's like
bad.
on Star Trek when they put somebody in a red shirt.
Aw.
It's like you know it ain't gonna fucking fare well.
So at this point, though, the prisoners weren't planning an insurrection. They were actually just waiting to see if change would come. Like they really still were.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the commissioner came to speak to the prisoners on September the 2nd. He was supposed to meet with the staff and then those 5 of the faction, and then speak to all the prisoners through the PA system. The men were waiting in their cells. They had their cell phones cell phones. No, they had headphones that they usually listen to their like crackly late night radio on.
Sure.
They all had those on, waiting to hear Oswald speak. He was going to address them in groups of blocks, and it was like how it was broken up was 3 different addresses for 9 minutes each.
Okay.
But he didn't. He left them a taped message saying that something came up in the office and he had to return early.
The disrespect.
Yeah. And his message said a whole bunch of nothing. He said
I'm sure
he had already taken steps to bring reforms to Attica. And at the end of the message, he said that he and his staff are reviewing and will continue to review the demands to make the changes that are reasonably possible.
Everybody take a drink.
That's almost
Everybody take a drink.
dude. That's almost like one of those like non-apologies that it's like I'm sorry that made you feel that way.
It very much
No.
is.
You don't even
Yeah.
you don't even use I'm sorry. You just say, more like
I hate that made you
we
feel
hear
that
the
way.
concerns, and like he handled it. We are doing our best and we are reviewing thoughts and prayers.
Just reading his stuff. Sounds like you fellas are upsetty spaghetti, and I am so reviewing that.
Is that verbatim? Like
He
the
put that-
message?
yeah.
Upset him spaghetti.
I'm
That's my
going to
favorite.
meet with our board of directors, Colonel Sanders, and
Okay,
fucking
like-
Grimace.
Yeah,
Grimace and Captain
Grimace.
Crunch.
Yes.
Grimace is the bouncer.
The Hamburglar is going to
Hamburglar is an inmate.
transcribe.
He's an inmate.
Oh yeah,
He's on
you're
the other
right.
side.
Damn it,
No,
you're
no.
right.
Big Bird is
So-
very on your side, by the way. So odds are great.
So one of the inmates said, this is a quote, "He didn't do nothing. He didn't so much as make one concession, such as giving a man soap or giving a man an extra shower." So these guys are feeling so defeated. They're asking for such minimal damn things that any human should be able to have,
Well, they're at the literally, for lack of a better term, they're at the fucking end of their ropes kind of thing. And
Absolutely.
it's like, hey, we're not getting shit.
No.
When we ask nicely.
Yeah.
So maybe we should probably go about this a different way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Well,
Kind of.
I think it's as planned as it seems like. It
Oh,
is.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We'll get to that still in this. In this
I'm
episode.
not trying to jump
No,
ahead.
no, I'm
just,
saying we get
that's
to
what-
some,
that's
we
what
get
it
some action
seems
here in
like.
just a minute.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm
There's
gonna
just a
run
lot
to
of
the
build-up.
bathroom real quick,
Okay.
but I'll
Okay.
run.
Yeah. These guys are just realizing that their actions so far aren't bringing about any results, and also like, it's late August.
Yeah.
In the daytime, it's in the 90s,
Yeah.
and they still can't get more than a shower a week. Like, if anything, give us that right now as just a little bit of a, hey, we're hearing you out. Here's something that we can give you.
You also have to think about like most of their time is just stagnant, right? And days are long.
Other than working for pennies.
Nights are even longer. So
Yeah.
the
They're just
longer
in their head.
yeah, the longer it takes to see the minimal amount of change is just so more significant.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, you're staying mad. Everybody
Mhm.
around you is mad
Yeah.
and frustrated and nervous. And like, everybody can feel that, like,
Exactly.
shit's tense.
Yeah. And especially with the actions that the correction officers are taking, like they're acting different, they're acting more nervous, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
do you remember when COVID really first hit and like you needed to go to the grocery store or anything? And it was like everybody was so on edge that it just felt like there was going to be a fight breakout.
It's horrible.
This is, I mean, very much to a higher degree than that, but like a similar sort of feeling where just like everybody's tense and everybody realizes everybody's tense. And so we're all more tense.
Yeah. And all it's going to take is just one thing, like just one more thing to just pop everything
off.
I
swear to God, if I get to the eggs and nobody, like, there aren't any fucking eggs there, I'm gonna flip my shit. Or I get to the commissary and somebody's taking the last soft bristled toothbrush. Fuck this.
Yeah. So Sam Melville, our writer bomber guy, he wrote to his lawyers on September 4th. All the rules are being really strictly enforced now. Like, okay, that's not great to hear.
Yeah.
Herb Blyden, one of the 5 faction reps, wrote to John Dunn, a Republican state senator who had helped in a previous peaceful ending to another uprising at the Tombs in New York City, where Blyden had been at the time. Blyden said in his letter that all they've received are promises of change and they need more visits from the reps immediately. Sam Melville sent one more letter to his lawyer and said, for Christ's sakes, do something. He's like, okay, they called him the Mad Bomber, but like he's very level-headed, actually. So correctional officer Mike Smith, who was really well liked among the prisoners and really disliked by his fellow COs because he was kind and respectful to the prisoners.
Wow.
Not like over the top. He just like, instead of calling them just by their last name or by their number, he would call them Mr. Jones instead of just being like Jones.
Yeah,
and they're like,
it's
oh,
almost
you're a soft little bitch. It's like,
it's almost like just being a little respectful to anyone. Like, well, let me put it this way. You fucking catch a hell of a lot more bees with honey than you do vinegar.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
You know?
So Mike Smith had been walking through a cell block when that...
Or is it flies?
I always heard flies.
Yeah, I think it's flies.
I guess bees don't look
bees
for honey.
Make
they
it,
make
yeah.
it, yeah.
So, anyway.
Mike Smith
can read good.
Mike Smith had been walking through a cell block when he heard when the tape was being broadcast, and he could just like tell what a disaster that was, like how the inmates were. The author worded it really cool. She said, Mike could feel the air around him begin to crackle with a new fury.
Ooh.
Oh, man, that just gave me chills.
It's good, though.
Yeah.
The morning after that tape speech had played, as he walked the inmates to breakfast, he could tell that they were more on edge than usual, and he worried about so many tense prisoners together in one big room together. That afternoon, 2 men were sparring in the yard, and Mike Smith could tell they were just playing. But another CO decided that's trouble. So he got his superior, Senior Lieutenant Richard Maroney, and when they returned to the yard, only one of those 2 guys were left, Leroy Dewar. He's a really small 23-year-old. He had just come out of a 7-day key block for fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And he was really enjoying his time outside.
One of the 2 guys sparring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dewar tried to explain, and Maroney just kept cutting him off and be like, go to your cell. Go to your cell. And he was like, for what? What'd I do? And he's like, go to your cell. I'm not telling you that. Dewar walked away, and Maroney grabbed him, and Dewar turned and hit him in the chest. And a crowd of about 200 men gathered around them. Another prisoner named Ray Lamourie came into the circle. It was unclear whether he tried to hit Maroney or whether he was just yelling at him, but another CO, Lieutenant Robert Curtis, came in to break things up and said they would deal with those 2 inmates later. So Curtis goes to tell Superintendent Mancusi about this altercation. Mancusi, like always, doesn't give a fuck. And he's in a meeting about officer safety, which he also doesn't give a fuck about.
Yeah, right.
The CEOs had been asking the day before to put the whole prison in a lockdown because they felt like a crisis was going to happen.
Sure.
And Mancusi's like, no. So about this day's incident, Mancusi just said, wait till the companies were locked up for the night and take those 2 inmates to the HBC. Segregation. The prisoners in A Block's 3 company heard the guards come for Dewar that night, and they worried about how harshly he'd be treated in HBZ, considering no inmate had ever hit a guard before. So, like, it's not going to go well for you.
It ain't going to go well. Yeah.
It's already, you don't want to go to HBZ. You really don't know what you're getting into now.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Dewar stalled a little bit when they asked him to come out. I think he was like, asking if he could give some of his books to some of his friends or something.
Yeah.
And the guards were kind of pushy. The guards went into his cell and just started breaking furniture and shattering glass. And the other inmates couldn't see. They could just hear that.
Yeah.
And then Dewar gets carried out motionless, like a guard carrying each limb.
Yeah.
So the other prisoners think he's dead.
Yeah.
Lamoury went peacefully, but the men in 5 Company, where he was, threw objects and yelled at the COs as they walked him out. The 40 men in 5 Company were some of Attica's angriest and most vocal, including Sam Melville and 2 Black Panthers, Tommy Hicks, who was one of the leaders from the Auburn Rebellion, and L.D. Barkley. C.O. Curtis asked his superiors, would you let the late shifts stay over into the morning in case anything happens? Because, like, breakfast is, like, the most, like, people moving around at the same time.
Sure. Okay.
And could you bring the morning shift in 3 hours early to help cover that breakfast hour?
Yeah.
Deputy Superintendent Leon Vincent just asked, who the hell paid that overtime? Cool. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
Way to focus on the most important things here. That's great.
I mean, paying overtime, though. Fuck 'em.
You know?
So by midnight, rumor that both the inmates had been beaten up and that Dewar was either in a coma or dead had made its way through the whole prison. Prisoners and COs start the next day full of dread. And the next day is September 9th.
Oh.
Which is when it pops off.
The big boy.
So.
All right.
Really?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh, we're getting into it.
Get a good stretch.
I almost stopped my notes for the episode there, and I was like, "Nah, let's get some action."
No, you gotta.
We've had so much.
You gotta give
build
a
up.
little
We gotta,
You gotta like
Yeah.
I don't even know what.
So we're only getting into a couple hours of the first day on this. So, C.O. Gordon
this
Kelsey.
This is what gets them coming back, Allie.
C.O. Gordon Kelsey was assigned to take A Block's 5 Company to breakfast. And he had never worked with that company. And he knew that those men were going to be irritated after last night's events.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
He'd been told to keep inmate William Ortiz in his cell because he was in keep lock now. He threw a soup can at the guards during all that. Several other men asked what's going to happen to Ortiz while we're all gone. And Kelsey genuinely didn't know. And then they took that as him being like evasive.
Yeah.
But he was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So several inmates said that they're not leaving without Ortiz, and they went back to their cells. So the CO took the other men to breakfast, but he didn't know that one of the men threw the switch on the central lockbox as he walked back by, opening Ortiz's door.
Ooh.
Oh,
No. Is that face reading it? I'm like reading. I'm like, ooh, it's popping off.
Oh.
Ortiz and the rest of the men ran to join their group going to the mess hall. Staff alerted Lieutenant Curtis. Superintendent Mancusi sent him to investigate, and he's like, yep, all the men are gone. They all went to breakfast. Curtis goes back to tell Mancusi, but he's gone now. And his assistant deputy superintendent, Carl File, said to put Ortiz back in keep lock and return all the men to their cells after breakfast. No time in the yard today. Like, no rec time.
Yeah.
Curtis called CO William Quinn, poor William Quinn, who was manning Times Square. I will explain that in a second. Yeah. And he told Quinn to lock the A gate to Times Square after 5 Company came back through leaving the mess hall. Larry, if you don't have the map pulled up, you should. I put it in our newsletter.
This is actually, this is very helpful.
Now it's because otherwise you're like, where the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
So Times Square is this tiny little room in the middle of everything.
Yep.
It's got steel gates at the middle of it's just the whole prison. All the halls of A, B, C, and D block meet there, and then there's a stairway up to the catwalks where you can like see over all the yards.
Gotcha.
The prisoners are eating breakfast with Ortiz and thinking he's somehow forgiven and everything's fine. They're actually all in a good mood. They leave the mess hall. The inmates and CO Kelsey thought they were going to A yard. No one even fucking told the CO that the plans had changed. So he doesn't even know, like what's going. So they get
Wait, are you telling me there's gambling going on?
Wait, are you telling me there's not great communication happening here?
I mean, like, dude, this is like this. I can't. Even on a good fucking day, this place seems to function like right above failing.
It's
you know what I'm saying? It's like it is like
no, that's absolutely
insane.
Right. Yeah,
there are way too many. There are way too many. Like, okay, from what I'm seeing on the map,
Yeah.
there are way too many spots where shit can go wrong because of the length of the walks. So like a mess to a yard, like there's just
I think there's only 2 mess halls.
There's only 2 mess halls, so they go in like kind of shifts.
But I agree with you. That's a fucking long ass trek.
It is.
Yeah.
From like one spot to another. So.
Yeah. So they're leaving the mess hall. The inmates and CO Kelsey all think that they're going to A yard. They get to the door from A tunnel to A yard, and it's locked. And Kelsey's like, "Huh?" So he leaves the men standing in line, and he goes toward the tunnel's far end that leads into A block.
Mm-hmm.
He runs into Lieutenant Curtis, who told him, "We're taking the men back to their cells." The prisoners realize that they've been locked into this tunnel on purpose, and they panic.
Yeah.
And then right when that starts, Curtis passes the first 4 inmates in line. Curtis was also the main guy in the issues with the 2 inmates that got taken to HPZ last night.
Oh, so he's locked in there. Oh, no.
One of the inmates decided, instead of trying to run away, that he's going to try to fight, and he punched Curtis in the left temple. And then several other men jumped him.
So Curtis is done.
Curtis is fucked.
Yeah.
I probably should have been. I mean,
I don't wish harm on anyone.
it's like,
but like at the same time, you can. And I thought this was really interesting.
to me that my friend isn't dead.
FAFO. You've heard of FAFO?
Oh yeah.
I'd never heard the acronym.
Oh yeah.
I know about it.
Uh-huh.
But this is totally fucking around and finding out.
It is.
So,
and then you put yourself in this tiny locked tunnel with him.
God, dude.
Come on, dude. Play stupid games.
Yep. Agreed.
So the rest of the men in 5 Company and 2 other companies that were behind it, they're all confused and they're scared. And then they realize they're all sitting ducks in this fucking tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they start grabbing anything they can to protect themselves. Some of them try to hide, but others decide to take revenge on officers or inmates that they particularly hated.
Yeah.
Some of them wanted to loot the commissary for food, and others wanted to try to get drugs at the pharmacy. A tunnel is now full of flying fists, breaking windows, and screaming men.
And that is not a big space. Like compared to everything else.
They kept saying how claustrophobic it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, knowing that you were locked in, and do we have a rough head count?
Well, if you look at A block,
like 500-ish.
The men in 5 Company and then 2 other companies, so somewhere between 120 and 150 men.
Gotcha.
That's a lot of men.
yeah,
No, that's a boatload.
That's a whole lot of men.
When you compare the size on this map of A block versus the A walk tunnel,
Yeah.
it's significantly different. Yeah.
It's basically just like an enclosed hallway kind of thing.
Yeah.
It looks like a hallway at a school kind of thing.
Yeah.
So CO William Quinn is locked safely in Times Square, and he can see all this. At this point, the COs were anxious, but they generally believed whatever was happening over in A tunnel that can be contained. Like, it's not, this isn't the end all be all.
Yeah.
More than 100 A block prisoners were in the yard already, having their rec time. Because remember, just this company wasn't going to go.
Sure.
They heard all this, and they crowded to the tunnel's windows to see what was going on. And then all of A yard quickly heard that there was a riot. So now these men arm themselves with anything they can find. They've got football helmets, they've got rakes, they've got any sports equipment that's around. So like bats.
I didn't realize that they gave him sports equipment, to be honest with you.
In the yard. I mean, when they're supervised, but like.
Did you not watch The Longest Yard? It was a whole football team. No, I'm just kidding. It was sad attempt.
Well, I mean, yeah. No, I got you.
It was either that or like Allie naming weapons, and I was gonna say the big mozzarella stick that we mentioned earlier. So
yeah, dude. Oh my god, you let that thing get cooled down.
You gotta
You
pick.
can bludgeon the shit out of somebody.
Choose your battles here, bro. Like you're gonna get one or the other out of me.
So there were 2 COs that were out in A yard, John Darkangelo and Walter Zymowski. They both had their key rings taken away and then watched helplessly as the men opened the doors to A tunnel and ran into that cramped space to join.
Man.
CO William Quinn was nervous in Times Square. He opened the gate a little bit to let in CO Kelsey, who had blood running down his face. He let one more guard in named Don Melvin from Sea Tunnel, which didn't have anything happening yet, but they could tell, like it's a matter of time, you know.
Yeah.
Very very short amount of time. Several terrified inmates from 9 Company begged to be let into Times Square to be safe, and Quinn was too afraid to open the gate again. He told the inmates, you know, just stand quietly against the wall, don't get involved. Quinn starts trying to call the administrative building. The phone system only lets one call on the whole system at a time.
And how is that even fucking possible?
Right.
And then
What?
And they said it was antiquated in fucking 1971. It was antiquated. So like clearly, yeah.
The
It was
admin
like
building-
one step up from fucking like Alexander Graham Bell's like fucking like telegraph
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
You know?
the admin building is pretty separated from this whole
Of course it
situation.
is.
Yeah.
They don't want to be part of any of this mess.
That is insane, dude.
Yeah. So, he keeps trying to call, and the lines are just crammed because people all across the place are trying to call
fucking
to see
call.
what's up.
Yeah.
So they're all just being nosy, and Quinn needs help, and he can't get help. So all he can do is sit there and wait.
My gosh.
And there's no protocols for this, which the COs had complained to management all summer about. There's no plan. They have no idea
they're
what they
barely
should be
trained.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
So like, think about it now. Like,
wow.
kids in schools have actor shooter drills.
Yeah.
They're more trained for this than these COs are.
Yeah.
That's
Running a prison of
insane.
2,200 guys.
Yeah.
God. Most of the men who were originally in A Tunnel were at this point trying to get out of it because it's crowded and it's getting more dangerous.
Sure.
They worried they'd be easy targets because they figured surely admin was getting together police and they'd come and like break them up any minute.
Yeah.
So a group of men approached the gate at Times Square and started trying all those keys they had. And Quinn and the other 2 guys were just in there just like watching. Thankfully, none of the keys worked. The 3 CEOs thought they were going to be safe.
Remind me, Quinn is in the
Quinn's in Times Square.
Times
The
Square
middle thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He had let 2
Times
other
Square.
guards. I know.
Now,
He
I'm
let
assuming-
2 other guards in too.
Gotcha.
I'm assuming there are doors at the end of each one of these tunnels leading to Times Square.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the map shows it
there's-
open. So
There's gates into Times Square from each side.
Yeah, I
okay.
can guarantee
Yeah.
fucking you
Okay.
there's gates everywhere.
Oh, it does. It does
yeah,
look like
it
it's
just
yeah.
shows it open.
It shows that it's open, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, dude, I mean, a prison's not going to have a hell of a lot of
Surely
open area.
you would
Yeah.
think that it wouldn't.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just speaking from like what I would think a prison would be.
Wait. I think Times Square is the very small circular thing.
Yeah, it's
in
a
the
very
middle
small
of
circle.
that.
Yeah.
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 So it's its own thing with its own gates on it.
Yes.
And then
True, but
around it is almost a roundabout.
So it's just open.
You think it's open?
I think so.
Damn.
That's what it looks
Well,
like
maybe
according to
in
the map.
1971. I don't-
According to
I
the
don't
map,
know,
it
I
looks
mean,
open.
So
But I feel like this map is also. I mean, they
It's not
can't put
great.
everything
Yeah.
in there. So, but I mean, maybe so. I would think that would be gated off. Like,
I mean,
but
they
not.
go into detail enough to show the skylight or the skylights on the admin building, though. So even the exhaust vents in the admin.
the skylights in the admin building.
okay,
That's a good point.
Look how Times Square is here. It's almost like a little
Yeah.
hut in the middle.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
It
yeah.
is
So
kind of an
It's like a
open little roundabout
360
there.
observatory.
So, Allie, you probably didn't see this, but did you ever see Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know, in that little like
Mhm,
thing in the
mhm,
center,
mhm.
that's kind of what it makes me think
Yeah.
of.
But that was elevated. That you know,
true.
This looks
But I'm
ground
just
level.
saying, like, but like put that on street level,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like, but lock it the fuck down,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So,
So the COs think they're safe because those guys' keys aren't working.
yeah.
Then the inmates start working at the gate hinges.
And that can't take that long because you've got so many people fucking working on that
Well,
shit.
and somebody
nobody's stopping.
procured a long piece of pipe and they used it as a metal battering ram. And there was a bar securing the gate to the cement and it broke in half at a spot where it had been previously broken, had been improperly rewelded and then painted over a bunch of times.
Hey
Of
man,
course.
low is bitter. You know.
Yeah. This just in. What? Do you expect us to adequately fund prisons? Come on, Allie.
So it is 9:05 a.m. at this point. Dozens of prisoners flood that little bitty space, the Times Square.
Sorry, real
Yep,
quick.
yep,
So this started super early in the morning or super late at night?
7 a.m. that morning was when like the lights went on at the prison. That's when the day started. Yeah.
Okay.
Dozens of prisoners go into Times Square and demand that Quinn give up his keys and his nightstick. He did. And then he got hit on the head by what someone later described as either a 2x4 or a heavy stick.
Sorry, it's not funny. It's just one of these things that it's like.
It's so, yeah.
I mean.
He already gave you his stuff, you know?
I mean,
so he fell to the ground.
You don't think he's going to get a bonk from somebody?
He got a bonk.
He got a bonk.
He fell to the ground and he got trampled as men kept running in. He's lying there motionless. He's got blood streaming down his face and his head. Both the other CEOs were knocked down, kicked, and beaten. And then those three CEOs, I keep saying CEOs, those three COs were bloody and fading in and out of consciousness.
I mean, the COs don't have a fucking, like,
no, they're fucked.
Hope.
The inmates start using Quinn's keys to open the gates to the rest of the cell block tunnels. They quickly had access to all 4 tunnels and cell blocks and the stairs that led up to those catwalks where they could observe all 4 prison yards at once.
Yikes.
And they commandeered the guards' gas guns and tear gas grenades that were stored in Times Square's roof.
And this is like 2 hours, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
I mean, not even like once stuff actually started happening was probably like 8 or so, I would think.
Yeah.
Because they had already been to breakfast, you know?
So I'm looking at
got a full belly of egg and bacon and like.
I don't think any of these guys ever had a full belly.
That's a good point.
What I'm trying to figure out is like I'm trying to get at least a kind of estimation as to what the square footage looked like, right? And obviously that's probably not going to be accessible, like, you know, legit blueprint square footage of a prison. But I'm looking at aerial views of Attica, and Times Square looks significantly smaller, right? That's just a little circle, the roundabout. So the building itself, the Times Square building, had to fit inside of that. So I'm thinking that it's a very
it's tiny. They described it as tiny.
Yeah.
It was really small.
I mean, it's probably just like a small, like,
kind of like a lookout
place.
Room.
Yeah.
Like max, like what?
3
10,
people. 3 people could probably fit in there.
People.
That's just my estimation. I don't know. I'm like I said, aerial footage. They're not going to release like specific.
They kept saying how small it was, but they didn't really like give measurements. I know. I kept kind of wondering that too.
Yeah.
So at 9:15, 10 minutes after those gates that gate collapsed, the prison alarm finally starts.
Oh.
You guys didn't sound the alarm till just now.
Yeah.
What?
And until then, most of the 116 COs and 78 civilian employees who were on shift had no idea anything was happening. Each time.
But at the same time, how are they supposed to get word out? You can only place one call at a fucking time on their you know?
Each time a group burst into a new area of the prison, those guards were just completely had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So CO Mike Smith, the one that was liked, that people liked.
Yeah.
He was in the metal shop. He heard the alarm, but he didn't know what it meant because he had only ever been told that it would be used if a prisoner escaped. Cool.
Again,
what's
back
happening?
to the improperly trained scenario. Yeah.
Just no plans, like no organization.
And to be fair, this kind of all seems like the riot itself was just impromptu because.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
no plan.
It kind of just happened.
Yeah.
No, you're totally. I mean, because honestly, it seemed
definitely
like
caused it, but it wasn't like they were like tomorrow morning at 9 we riot.
Yeah, and honestly, it seemed like it started with everybody getting like stuck on that.
They saw the opportunity and they took advantage of it. I mean, because other blocks didn't even know.
Backed into a corner. They were scared. Yeah.
It's like I mean, shit, dude, you back anybody into a corner and they're fucking probably going to lash out. Kind of thing,
So Mike Smith, he goes to the windows and he looks down to the first floor of the shop and he saw prisoners arming themselves. And he's like, oh no.
Yeah.
So he quickly locked the civilian employees in the shop office to protect them. And then he watched as the prisoner workers tried to hide in lockers and under tables. He tried to call anybody in authority, but again, the phones. Poor guy.
You know, it's like, fuck, man.
The
Like,
one time you
how-
need the phone that you probably never use.
But this is the wild thing is like, it's not like fucking, oh my God, radios didn't exist at this point.
Yeah.
Like, why do they not all have
It was just
radios?
like it was just ran improperly. It wasn't equipped. Like the infrastructure wasn't there to handle this.
No, you're completely right. I'm just saying that, like, how did they all not have fucking radios? Because okay, hey, guess what? A fucking line gets cut down and you don't have a phone line.
This seems to me like
okay,
it
then
was.
how do you communicate with anyone?
Yeah.
To me, it seems like this will never happen. Don't worry about it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like almost
It's a lot of that,
almost like a
dude.
power trip type thing. You know, assert your dominance and it won't happen.
Well, but it's also one of these things that it's like, hey, we're gonna allocate this kind of money for like this prison thing, but hey, you know, honestly, probably only about 20% is gonna actually make it there.
Well, and as cheap as they are with everything, as low as their budget is, they're probably like, yeah, we probably need to upgrade the phones. We probably need to give everybody radios, but like that's money.
But look
And,
at
like,
the massive footprint of this place.
yeah.
This is really fucking wild.
So, prisoners start trying to get into the area that Mike Smith is in, and he's hoping the doors will hold. And then a prisoner that's inside the shop comes out of hiding, walks up to him, takes his keys, and opens the door up.
Oh wow.
And dozens of men rushed in and started hitting Mike with a pipe. Mike tried to protect his head, and two inmates, Don Noble, the guy who wrote the July Manifesto, and an unnamed second inmate, they threw themselves over CO Mike Smith, telling the other inmates, leave him alone, that he's a good guy.
That's fucking gnarly.
There's a lot of that. You will be surprised. You will continuously be surprised.
This is proof that, like,
that they're human.
Be a good human.
Yep.
Yeah.
And humans recognize good humans.
And will
Just be
treat you
remotely
right.
decent.
Yeah.
Like the least amount of decency, and these guys are literally protecting your body.
Yeah.
Like,
So-
No, I mean, I agree.
I want to ask a question, and so what was the most like revenue producing area of this prison when it came to, like, you know, prison workers? Was it the metal shop or?
I think they made a lot. The laundry was a big part of Sam Melville's expose, but I've not read that expose.
Because there's a shoe and tailor shop, there's a metal shop.
But this could all
Laundry,
be stuff
so.
that it's just
the
so that
metal
it's
shop
like,
also has like 450 employees, so like I feel like it's making a lot of money.
well, yeah, but they're also, I'm sure, like doing shit that is going to be at least a portion of it sunk back into like the prison.
You would think.
And I'm just-
you would think.
Well,
That's
no,
the
no,
reason
no,
why
no, no,
I asked that.
But I'm saying, like, okay, so we already talked about like that piece of like fencing that was repaired or whatever, you know. It's like
And they're cutting corners
some of that
everywhere
shit-
they
Yeah,
can.
because
absolutely doing that,
they
but, like,
try to increase their profits while doing very little to the infrastructure of this campus. You know, like,
but I bet they're like the shoe shop or whatever the fuck you said. The
shoe and tailor
the
shops.
shoe and tailor shop, dude. I bet they're fucking repairing prisoners' clothes so they don't have to fucking buy new prisoners' clothes.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of that going on. But yeah, I mean, I can't see a hell of a lot going on in the metal shop that it's like, oh yeah, it's probably fucking manufacturing. Well, I mean, hell, at this point, where are we in
70s,
regards to
71?
Vietnam? When was Vietnam? Was that 73?
We pulled out of Vietnam in 75.
Okay. So, I mean, like, when do we enter? God, I know I should know that, but
I don't even
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, neither. I don't either.
I think Sam Melville got put in prison in 68 for protesting Vietnam. So I think it had already been going on a little bit.
yeah. From it's 1955 to the fall of Saigon in 75, but like not that fucking.
Yeah. No, he got put in his bombings were in 1969.
Okay. So we're currently in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So I bet there were war efforts
So
kind of things in all the prisons, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I'm just a side note.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
trying to put this in context so that I can fucking understand it.
Yeah.
So the peak of the Vietnam War, accordingly, the bloodiest years of the war for the United States was 1968.
68, really?
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like we should have pulled out so much before we did.
Okay, so the U.S. pulled out in 73. So I mean, we're at least fucking. There's got to be some kind of war effort. That was my only point. I'm just trying to figure out like.
Yeah.
I know that this shit is not being sunk back into the prison. We all fucking know that because it's fucking dilapidated and it's a trash heap that I'm surprised that it can even like hold humans,
Yeah.
in there. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to fucking wrap my mind around this shit. So.
Yeah.
Anywho, sorry.
Man. Oh, you're good. You're good. So there's another CEO. I keep.
No,
like,
I know.
I like hesitate when I say the C and it comes out CEO.
Yeah.
Another correctional officer in the metal shop, Donald Almeter, he had a reputation for being tough, and the inmates were happy to beat on him. The prisoners broke into the shop office and they took the civilians down the stairs and out the shop. 2 inmates, the 2 that were with Mike Smith, took him with them to try to get him to the admin building for safety.
Yeah.
Other guards who were liked were CO GB Smith, who worked in the garage portion of the metal shop, and 2 guards were found hiding in a yard toilet, John Darkangelo and Dean Wright. They were taken hostage, but they were told like really quietly by inmates, like, we're trying to get you to safe areas.
Yeah.
So like kind of taken hostage, but kind of like, hey,
It's
man, we're
Hey, bro, like we're just kind of going with the flow. We're not trying to hurt anybody. Probably some you were nice to us type scenario.
Plus, if other prisoners see the, I'm sorry, this is going to be confusing. When prisoners see the other prisoners seemingly be in control of COs,
Yes.
then it's like, oh, that's probably going to be a hell of a lot easier to like, palatable or whatever.
Yeah.
Then like,
You don't necessarily want to be like, I'm taking this guy to safety. The rest of us are in a lot of danger, but this guy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
there's an inmate named Richard X. Clark. He came into Times Square and he saw that Quinn was doing really badly, and 4 other guards were around him and were all not good. And Clark wanted to help. He had gotten a drug addiction while he was in the Navy and got himself like pulled back together. He like got an honorable discharge. He went home to his wife and kids, but he eventually went to prison for robbery, trying to support his drug addiction.
yeah.
Being in prison was a real wake-up call to him, and like he got really religious, and now he's a leader of Attica's Black Muslims. And being a leader just really compelled him to make sure that these guards who were hurt, like that he could get them safety.
Sure. Yeah.
So Clark and several of his men took the other 4 COs through a tunnel to A block and locked them in 2 cells for their safety.
Yeah.
He went back through a tunnel and he found another badly beaten guard named Royal Morgan and a
God,
prisoner.
what a fucking name.
Right? That guard and a prisoner were trying to carry William Quinn somewhere safer. The guard was so beaten and he was just wearing shoes and socks and was like delusional. It was just like losing his shit.
Yeah.
And his hand was so fucked up, like he could hardly even do anything.
Yeah.
So Clark got some other prisoners to help, and they took Quinn to an office on the ground floor of A block, and then they put CO Morgan with the other guards in the cells, quote, so that he would be spared further assault. Like they're looking out for these guards.
Yeah,
really
I mean, like, dude, they're doing a hell of a lot more than I would have expected.
Yes.
Let me put it that way. You know what I'm saying?
And just a little teaser, it'll get we'll get more into this later, but like the hostages, I feel like I need to put that in quotes because like the hostages were like, they're actually being so good to us, like they're giving us mattresses and they're sleeping on the ground, like we feel so safe, like please negotiate with these guys. Like
yeah.
So
Wow, man, that's wild.
It really is. So Quinn's really bad off. He's unconscious. He's bleeding from his nose and his mouth, and he's got a really bad head injury. Clark is really nervous, but he approaches these gates that are separating A block from the admin building, and he tells the guards, he's like 15 feet away from them, and they've all got shotguns. And he's like, hey, there's an injured guard in here. He really needs a doctor. And they just stared at him. They just didn't even respond. And his quote was that he thought, damn, here is one of their own men, and they won't even come to help him. So,
Dude.
yeah. So he goes back to Quinn. He gets 5 men to help put him on a mattress. They carry him down the flight of stairs to the gate. There's already so much blood on the ground that one of the inmates slipped on some blood and landed so hard he chipped a tooth.
Ah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
They managed to get Quinn to the gate so that the guards could see him, and then still nobody helped. And Clark was like, maybe if I walk away, the guards will think they can come get him. And then thankfully they did.
Yeah.
So Clark hollers after them.
Which, okay, putting the shoe on the other foot.
Sure.
The fit.
Sure.
But yeah, I could see it as being like
Yeah.
potentially, you know.
And especially being like, there's a guy hurt. Please come help. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Open this gate.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. But yeah,
yeah.
I totally dig. Like it sucks that
Yeah.
that these dudes were totally trying to do good by him. You know.
Yeah.
So
then he hollers after the officers. He's like, hey, there's other guards upstairs that also need doctors. He had also found Curtis and 2 other COs, Elmer I meant to look up how to say this one, Hune and Raymond Bogart. Those 2 guys were hiding in a cell. Bogart really needed medical attention, and he told the men that he was going to try to get them out. And he was like, I don't know if I can, but we're going to try to get y'all out.
yeah.
So, just for quick reference, if you take a look at the screen, I'm going to show the tunnels in Times Square. Obviously, there's a roof, but this is what we're looking at here as far as space. So, there are 3
Times
men.
Square's that little hut thing.
Oh yeah, dude.
There are 3 men standing, like 3 or 4 men standing side by side. So what, 3 more could fit in there? Just to kind of give a reference as to how wide the tunnels were versus the
You could probably do like 6 or 8 people
roundabout,
side by side, like
quote unquote
Plus, I don't know
roundabout.
what's in there. Like if
Sure.
there's like a desk or
yeah. And I would think
there's
there
at least
would
a phone.
be.
Like
yeah.
well, not that it functions.
Maybe,
but
yeah.
God.
Holy hell.
So by 10 a.m., Clark had gotten CO Kelsey and 5 other COs down to the first floor, and then other COs got them out of the prison. That afternoon, 4 more officers had been helped out of the prison by prisoners. Quinn though.
Yeah.
Prison admins had left him alone on a mattress on the ground with no care. When an ambulance driver came to pick him up, he was shocked at how badly injured Quinn was. He had known Quinn his whole life and said that if he hadn't, he would have not recognized the guy.
Jeez, dude.
And to tease the next episode, Superintendent Mancusi wants to handle all this with just his own guys and not bring any outside help in.
Of course.
You love to see it.
Because he already had it under control.
We've got it so under control. It's never been more controlled.
We do not like. It's not that we don't want anybody else looking into this, but we got it.
It might be that.
We got it.
And hey, it just gets so much worse from
Dude.
here.
This is fucking wild.
It's wild, dude. It's
This
so
is
wild.
absolutely fucking
so wild.
Yeah.
Like holy shit.
Allie, you deserve this.
That's so
Are
good.
you ready?
Yeah, golf clap.
No, dude, honestly, this is in the best way possible. I know this is so ridiculously intense and everything, but like
It's so
you're
fascinating.
crushing.
Sure.
You're crushing a presentation of
Once
this.
again, it
'cause
really is the book, dude. I'm telling you, like just like with weapons, like featuring there's some but like just
oh, the weapons are 3.
Oh,
But
no.
just like with that, it's all the book for real. Like it's
Dude,
oh,
well, you're crushing it, and I just have to say, hell yeah, man!
man,
Like,
as I keep
I'm
wanting to
excited about the
spoil
next
things and
episode.
be like, and actually, like we will get to those things.
But really, what happened? When,
God,
Yeah.
there's so much that you should just flip through my book and see how many times I just put an exclamation point in the margin.
I saw
or,
the sticky
like,
notes in your book, so yeah, I can
Yeah.
only imagine.
that was just stuff I'm trying to go back to. You should see
Yeah.
how many fucking highlights there
He
are.
turned a book into a porcupine, a sticky note porcupine, man.
Man,
But-
there's so many just like, and she does such a good job with doing like little like 1-page sort of biographies of inmates and COs and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, and then I'm like, man, I want to get to the, I think I'm going to tell some of the stuff, but a little out of order. Cause there was like one really big revelation that doesn't happen till way towards the end. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this would explain a lot.
Yeah, but that's honestly, that's the best part about. No offense,
Yeah.
but you reading the entire book, you know the entire story, so
Yeah.
you know where it's like, oh, well, it might be helpful if you knew this little bit of information
Yeah.
a little earlier
Yeah.
on, or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, Larry and I, we're simple. So.
I will. Okay, I will.
I'm
I will
just
do
trying
one
to-
little spoiler because
I'm just-
one thing that I just can't stop thinking about is there. What you're trying to?
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to contribute with graphics for our live viewers.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
There's just like okay. There ends up being ultimately 10 hostages that die. And they just immediately tell the news that all of them had their throats cut by prisoners.
My gosh.
0 of them had their
Had their
throats
throats
cut.
cut. Of
They were
course.
all shot. Do you know who had guns?
The snipers on the
guess
roof.
Oh wow.
Oh, a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably people that were employed by the correctional facility we're
But
talking about. So.
Not any prisoners.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, there weren't
Wow,
any
dude.
wigs with guns involved?
Yeah. Wait, I happen to remember one specific person that had a wig, and no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, when you
Holy shit,
the
dude.
amount of gunfire they go in with, oh my god, it's such a mess. They're so stupid. They could have. They
dude,
could have fucking avoided all of it.
they could have avoided all of this
Yeah.
by just like running a fucking prison
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah.
How about that?
Remotely decently.
Yeah,
God.
absolutely.
Anyway,
Oh, holy shit, Allie, you did it.
I did.
My God, you more than did it.
Yeah,
Holy shit, you more than did it. Rock and roll, dude. So Allie just carried this episode 300, part 1 of the
Oh.
Attica prison riot. Yeah. Part 1 of so,
Almost 2 hours of it. Yeah.
yeah, dude, you crushed it though.
Thanks,
Like,
man.
seriously, that was awesome. Very entertaining, and I know that like that might be seen as terrible me saying that because I know we're talking about a lot of gnarly shit.
I
but
can't stop thinking about it. Like the whole, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
That's wild,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But it is my job to do the outro because Allie's done fucking everything else. So so thank you guys so much for joining us for right around an hour and 50 minutes, just about 10 minutes shy of 2 hours. Holy guacamole.
Ooh.
If you want to let us know what you think about this episode or any other episodes, tetherradio.com. I'm sorry, tetherradio@gmail.com. If you want to go to tetherradio.com and solidify
Buy it.
that and then
Buy
sell it
it.
to us for very cheap, we'll take it.
Or donate it. You know, that'd be cool.
Or a donation. We'll always take that. So if you want to check out the show notes, how are we going to do show notes with this? Or are we... Sorry to put you on the spot. I hadn't thought about it.
I mean,
Or
I
do we
feel-
want to hold off until the end?
Yeah,
Because I think that's what we
actually,
did last time. right?
Yeah, I'll still send newsletters out like normal, but I'll just put like I know I'm gonna link the map in there and just like
We could
maybe a couple
toss-
sites and stuff.
We could toss untethered.
Yeah, do the
shit. 'Cause,
untethered show notes
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
true. We can do
yeah,
that.
we'll probably
Yeah.
do like a
Short
30
one.
minute 30-minute untethered or whatever this week.
works,
So,
that works.
Yep.
so this week, or I'm sorry, until Allie wraps
Indefinitely.
indefinitely.
So we're looking at
Until-
mid-July.
No.
No, dude, she'll crush and she'll fucking.
We'll
you know
get
what?
there. We'll get there.
It will rap when it fucking needs to rap. How about that? So,
I'll probably cut a lot from that because the court cases are just dull because
Really?
they're just
well, we all know it's fucking like
awful.
eye rolling,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
terrible
Yeah.
shit.
I'll definitely summarize them, but I won't go into all the details like she does for
Gotcha.
sure.
Okay.
But
Well, for right now, what we're going to be doing, and I will announce it, or one of us will announce it in the episode once we actually move from having untethered show notes stuff in the newsletter back to normal episode show notes. So for the time being, we are going to have our untethered. If we have untethered episodes, then we will have those show notes in the newsletter. You can go to substack.tetherradio.com.
nope.
Tetherradio.substack.com. My God, I'm getting
like,
them
does
all
that sound
right.
right?
Yeah. Tetherradio.substack.com. Damn it. And you can go there to sign up for all of our show notes in regards to like the newsletter that Allie puts together. It's awesome. And like I said, it's going to be untethered show notes for right now.
Yeah.
But once again, that is tetherradio.substack.com. You can support us in other ways. I will put this out there, tinyurl.com/tether merch.
Yes.
We got some fun stuff. We got some fun t-shirts that I dare you to buy that say Tether Radio is a cult, or Tether
Is not a cult.
Radio is called.
Yeah.
Is
Okay, yeah, we're leaning into the cult mentality. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I got the hoodie and it's good.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get a T-shirt so I can wear it over the summer.
Yeah.
So, but I need something other than black T-shirts because
Preaching to the choir, dog.
Holy shit! I've gone. Well, Megan did this to me.
Yeah.
Like legit. Every other shirt in her wardrobe is black, and I gave her so much shit when we first got married, and now I own so many fucking black shirts.
Yep.
It's like insane.
Okay, it's not our fault though, because all the best shirts are printed on black.
They really are, and they go with everything.
I know.
So,
However,
I
we do
deliberately
provide
don't-
we provide a variety
do.
of colors.
We have other colors.
exactly. And I will not be buying a black shirt.
I don't buy anything navy because I wear so much black and I don't want it to clash.
I know, dude. Exactly. But anywho, thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 300, part 1 of the Attica prison riot. Yeah, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I let you know where you can send all your emails and stuff, tetherradio@gmail.com. And be sure to check out the Untethered on Wednesday if you did not tune into this bad boy live. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in for episode 300. I'm Daniel.
I'm Allie.
And I'm Soggy Larry.
Oh, man.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I dislike soggy more than moist, I think, at this point. Like, Larry, God, you just made me vomit
Damn,
my
dude.
throat, bro.
Bad.
I wanted to try something new, man. I mean, come on.
Well, you did. It did not land.
Abort! Oh, my God. But thank you guys so much for joining us and giving us about an hour, 2 hours of your time. We hope you enjoyed it. And be sure to check out the Untethered on Wednesday. Until then, take it easy, friendos.
Bye.
Bye. Please clap.